Hi everyone, my name is Amanda and I have been living with type 1 diabetes for 12 years now. In this video, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a topic that has been really new and big in my life lately, and that is living on your own with type 1 diabetes for the very first time. To give you a little bit of background on myself, earlier this year I moved out for the first time on my own into my own place. I'd always either lived with roommates or with my parents, but this was my first time ever living alone, and I will say I definitely had, some concerns about living on my own with type 1 going into it. I had a couple of worries that I think are pretty normal, but everything has been going really, really well so far. I would definitely love to share some of what I have learned so far with you guys. All right, so my first piece of advice has a little more to do with the pre-planning process before your move. I know this is going to sound a little bit obvious, but trust me when I say that when you have a lot of things going on during your move, it's gonna be really easy to forget this little piece, and it's that you should let your endocrinologist know that you're moving, and you should give them the address to the new pharmacy where you'll be refilling your prescriptions once you know which one that is. I made the mistake of waiting until I moved to let my endocrinologist know, and long story short, it just took a little longer than expected to get that change made. And so to avoid the anxiety that comes with that, I would definitely recommend that you reach out to your endo beforehand, give them that address, make that change, so when you get there, you are ready to go and to refill your prescriptions. I would 100% say that the biggest lesson I've learned so far from living on my own has been that you are not alone, and it's really, really important to set up a support team. It doesn't have to be people that live around you, but just someone who will reach out to you regularly and maintain, regular contact with you just to check in on you and see how you're doing. Wearing a medical alert ID is really helpful, especially if you're living in a place where you're not typically around people that you know very well, like I am. Whether that's a medical alert ID that is on you or a card that you carry in your wallet, just something that, in case of an emergency, if someone were to find you, they would be able to quickly tell that you have type 1 diabetes. Something that I also have is I have the emergency contact feature, the medical ID alert set up on my iPhone. So if someone were to, find me in an emergency and want to get information on me, they could easily find the emergency button, and it would just have all my emergency contact information, and it would also say that I have type 1 diabetes, which for me is just comforting. And I know that you can get this set up on most phones, so I would definitely look into if you can do it on yours. The biggest worry I had coming into moving on my own was nighttime low blood sugars. And for anyone living with type 1 diabetes, it's a worry, it's a concern, but I would say especially if you live on your own, you might just have extra worries. What happens if your blood sugar does go low in the middle of the night and there's suddenly no one around you to help you out? It could be a really, really scary thought, and it definitely was for me. But what I've done is I just have set up some nighttime routines that help me feel prepared to manage a low blood sugar in the middle of the night if it were to happen. The first thing that I do is I just make sure that I have a juice and some sort of snack with carbs, always at arm's distance from my bed. So if I were to go low, I don't have to walk anywhere. And then the second thing that I make sure that I do is if I'm exercising that day or drinking or doing anything that I think might affect my blood sugars more weirdly than usual, I will just set alarms on my phone to wake me up in the middle of the night and remember to check my blood sugar. Overall, I will say that living on my own with type 1 has been one of the biggest learning experiences of my life, but it has been going really well so far, and I'm learning something new every single day. So if you have any tips, tricks, pieces of advice that you'd like to share with myself or with anyone else watching this video who may be thinking about living on their own with type 1 diabetes for the very first time, please feel free to leave that in the comments down below. They could really, really help someone out. I hope that you found the tips that I have or that I've learned helpful to you, and I look forward to seeing you next time.